first and foremost, I have a pan on a medium heat, and I'm gonna make a flavored garlic oil. The way I'm gonna do this is I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm gonna take 2 cloves of garlic and really chop them up fine. And then I'm gonna pinch a little salt over the top of this, and it helps kind of break down the garlic. I got 2 cloves of garlic going right into this olive oil. And then I've got 4 boneless pork chops. I actually have our oven at 400 degrees because these are so thick. Sometimes when you have steaks or when you have chicken or when you have pork chops that are really thick, it's very hard to cook it through perfectly on the stove. So I like to brown it on the stove, finish it in the oven. And the oven won't brown it, it will just cook it through and you don't have to worry about it. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna add a little bit of salt over the top of our chops, a little bit of pepper. Beautiful. And I like a lot of pepper on these pork chops. And then I take this garlic oil. We're actually seasoning the actual pork chop. Instead of putting oil in the pan, we're putting it on the chop to kind of reduce the amount of oil that you're actually taking in. And then I just pick them up and I just kind of press them evenly into my pan. And immediately I smell the garlic. And these are just on their way to being gorgeous. So the goal is just let them hang out, right? Just let them hang out. So I'll give these guys a quick flip. Let's just take a look. Almost there. I kind of want another one on this one. Also not getting the most even heat on this burner, but let's see this guy. Yeah, see that one's there. I knew it was just where, sometimes it's just where the pork is. You can see these guys didn't get as much color on the back, so I just like to kind of flip them around. And this is exactly why I like to cook it in the oven. So I'll get a nice color on all these guys, but the oven is so much more even, right? This is just straight heat on one side, right? And we want heat surrounding it. Take a look at this. Totally raw in the middle still. So brown, but raw. All right, so this is where I'd stop. Take it off the heat. And I'm literally gonna take this whole thing and add it to my oven, which is right off camera here. So I'm gonna go pop this in the oven. This is gonna keep the pork all at the same consistency as it cooks through, but it's also gonna really lock in the moisture as opposed to being too intense of heat and drying them out, which dried out pork chops, no bueno for anybody. No one loves that. Next, we're gonna start off with about a tablespoon of olive oil right in the pan. I'm gonna now take 2 cans of rinsed and drained butter beans. Those are going right in. All right, so beans in, I'm adding about a cup of cherry tomatoes. Lots of good salt in here, lots of good pepper. And we're just letting these gorgeous butter beans just warm up in the salt, pepper, in those tomatoes. And I'm gonna grab 2 lemons. We're gonna make these very lemony. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken stock. And it's important when you get chicken stock from the store, if you are getting them from the store, to get low sodium chicken stock. And just kind of bring that to the kind of a simmer. I'm on about a 7, 8 out of 10 right now. And I'm just letting these beans just warm through, kind of creating almost like this light stew. And now I'm gonna take 2 lemons. So I just zest the lemon right into those beans. Look how beautiful this looks. I'm gonna cut these lemons in half and I'm gonna actually juice them both. All right, so I just kind of put my hands down. This helps kind of catch all the little pits. So at this point, we've got the beans, we've got the stock, we've got those gorgeous tomatoes, we've got all that lemon juice, and you're just creating this really warm, almost a succotash, like a stir fry almost. Just grab a handful of fresh parsley and chop that up, and then in we go. And I'm gonna hold some back for kind of the finish, but I just kind of stir this in. So I'm gonna pull these puppies out on to our stove. Look how beautiful those look. Those look absolutely stunning. So a couple things I kind of want to look out for is you'll notice on the bottom they got really crispy and beautiful, but not overly cooked, not burnt, and that's because you put them into the oven themselves. So I'm just kind of dressing them in their own kind of juices here. And what you want to do at this point is, you know, before I take them out of the pan, I like to grab a thermometer. So I'm just going to insert this into the thickest part of the pork, and we're about 121. Let's see the thinner ones. Yeah, these are 140, pretty much on the dot. So I'm gonna let the pork just kind of relax in the pan. Now I'm gonna turn off the beans at this point because they're gonna stay nice and warm. The pork is resting, and this is a great time. This is not part of the recipe, but we thought it would be a really cool addition to show you guys an easy tapenade. But I've got some pitted greens, some pitted Kalamata olives, some leftover parsley, a nice handful of capers, and some more lemon zest. So I'm just gonna take my knife and just run it through and just make the easiest little paste. So then I'm gonna take even more lemon. So I'm just gonna mix in that lemon. And at this point, I just grab a little spoon and you just have, look at this gorgeous paste. And at this point, you know, the pork has been resting. The beans are kind of more lukewarm than super hot, which is the way that I kind of like them. And it's important when you rest your meat that it rests for about half as long as that it cooked. So these cooked for about 10 minutes. They've been resting for about 5 minutes. So that's about perfect. So I'm gonna grab a couple of these guys. Look at that, opaque, beautiful, pearly white, juicy as can be. The pork is cut. Tapenade is whipped and beautiful, and our beans are just perfect temperature. So got a nice plate here. I'm gonna just start with just a bed of these beans. Then I pick up my pork and I just start to kind of fan that out. I like to kind of show, so I kind of just open them up. Doesn't that look pretty already? It's beautiful. Then I grab some of that tapenade, totally optional, not part of the recipe, but I just kind of use my fingers and just kind of sprinkle right over the pork. It's briny, salty, bright because of the lemon juice and the saltiness of the olives themselves. And then I grab some fresh herbs. I've got some leftover dill. You could use some parsley. And I just kind of tear this over the top and just scatter. And no need for extra fat. No need for anything here except for a fork and a bib. Look at this.